Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you all your latest Rangers news ahead of a semi-final weekend. A chance to return to Hampden to play either Aberdeen or Celtic and defend the League Cup that we won against Aberdeen last season. Right, we're going to talk obviously a little bit about the present situation. We'll have a little look ahead to tomorrow's game. We've also got what Ali McCoyster's been saying about the club. And let's face it, when a Rangers legend like Super Ali talks, we have to listen. Right, I think, look, we're in a difficult position at this moment in time. There is clearly very little faith in the manager. There is very little faith in this present set of players. And there is certainly very little faith in the present board. I think we can all see that the club is an absolute shambles at this moment in time with no CEO, no director of football, no chairman. The club is kind of drifting out at sea and in danger, obviously, of smashing into an iceberg and sinking without a trace. And this season been a complete and utter write-off, which is certainly nothing that we want to see. And look, I think we've got to deal in realism. We've got to deal in the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is at present, unfortunately, that we are absolutely light years behind Celtic in terms of not only off the field, in terms of financially and in terms of their organisation, but in terms of on the field too. Look, I hate them. I hate praising them, but I think their players are by far better than what we have got at this moment in time. You can see that with some of the signings they make, obviously spending 11 million on Engels. They have certainly a more capacity to buy. And I think in Brendan Rodgers, they have a much better coach and better manager than we have, which is something that hopefully that will be addressed at some point, either this season or at the end of the season. Look, realistically, I think Philippe Clement is dead man walking. I think it would have to be a miraculous turnaround from this point for him to save himself. So I know what you're asking. You're asking me, why is he still in a job? Why is a man that has failed, superbly, galactically failed on a number of occasions this season and last to some degree in terms of, moving the club forward, why is he still in a job? Given the fact that he has spectacularly failed to keep pace with Aberdeen and Celtic. I mean, fair enough, Celtic to some degree, like I said, given the iniquity in terms of resources and team talent that there is there. But Aberdeen, obviously, doing very well under Jimmy Thielen, but it certainly shouldn't be a situation where we're 9 points behind them at any point. That is utterly ridiculous. I'll be honest with you, I think what is saving him at this moment in time, if you look back at the past history of the club in terms of when managers have left, obviously Gerrard left under his own steam when he went to Villa in November. I think it was November the 11th he left. Obviously, Gio was got rid of in November, and Michael Beale in October. We're certainly around the sacking period for Rangers managers, the witching hour, so to speak. But I think the complete lack of direction from the top, the lack of leadership from the top, is the one factor that is keeping him in a job. That there is nobody there to take decisive action to sack him. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, the decision to sack a manager comes down to a CEO. It comes down to a chairman, and that's two things we don't have now. John Gilligan, whatever you may think of John Gilligan, as the chairman of the football club, is very much doing what he can with what he's got. He is an interim chairman at the end of the day. He is not the chairman. He has, I think, very limited powers to take big decisions, like sacking managers, for example. I think his remit is very much to steady the ship, to try and bring a little bit of stability to the club, to appoint a CEO, to appoint a chairman, and then move on. I think, personally speaking, I think until there is a CEO and a chairman in place, there will be no move on the manager. Now, what damage is done to the team and what damage is done to our league position and our Europa League progress is obviously going to be interesting to see over that time, and the time that Clement is allowed to remain. I think obviously Clement will survive through to the next Old Firm fixture, whenever that bit may be, whether that may be the League Cup final, which looks very much likely, or whether that be the Old Firm game in January at Ibrox. Who knows? But another Old Firm defeat, can he survive another Old Firm defeat? That has to be a massive question. I mean, let's face it, any Rangers manager that cannot beat Celtic doesn't last long. I mean, that's just history, isn't it? History shows you that. So, I think the fact that he's spectacularly failed against Celtic on a number of victories, a number of times, even with his moral victory, I think it does show that he is failing. The caliber of football played by the football club is worryingly bad. There seems to be a real regression in style and shape in any sort of form as well. The football is awful to watch. It is genuinely poor to watch. And I think if even with the fact that, yes, we are undergoing a rebuild, yes, we are undergoing a reset. And I think, as much as what Clement said yesterday in terms of this is a reset, this is a rebuild, this is a project, this is going to be paid in the short term for long-term gain. He talked like that yesterday, which I think was an absolute load of rubbish. I think it's difficult to accept when you don't see progress on the field, when you're not seeing a development of a style, a development of a way of playing, or any sort of progression. I mean, the football seems to have regressed to even worse than Michael Beale's standards, which is fairly awful. Now, whether this is Clement's message not getting across, or the players just genuinely downing tools, I don't know. It could be either. I think there is certainly some element of the players letting him down. I think that is massive. But also, you've got to question the recruitment as well. The recruitment of a crop like Cortez, the fact that 8 of the 11 that started in arguably the biggest game of the season he was here last season. He only included 3 new signings, showing the faith he quite clearly has in the likes of Igaman and so on and so forth. The likelihood as well that 2 of the worst players this season will start again tomorrow. James Tavernier, who has been absolutely dreadful, and hearing him talk yesterday and saying that he's feeling great this season, he's doing well this season, I think it just shows how out of touch he is, massively out of touch. And that was a genuine quote from him, that he said he's feeling great this season. Well, James, we're not seeing it, mate. We're just genuinely not seeing it. And Dessers obviously is just I don't know what Dessers is. He's just not good enough at the end of the day. He's an empty shirt. But look, I think the team selections, yes, are poor, but I think, like I said, what is saving him very much is the lack of direction at the club, the lack of leadership at the club. And it's worrying. It is very, very worrying and concerning at this point in time. Now, Super Ali McCoist was talking yesterday on Talk Sport about where he sees the club at this moment in time. How he sees the football club progressing. And he said they were really, really poor. He says, from a Rangers point of view, he says there is no chairman at this point of time. John Gilligan is doing his best and he will continue to do so. But there is a lack of stability at the top. There is no chief executive, as the previous chief executive nipped away to Saudi Arabia, in the Middle East, wherever he went. The spine of the club is just simply not right, which is right. There is no spine of the club. There is absolutely no leadership, despite what John Gilligan may say about the role being played by him and Leatham and Varane. He also spoke about the players. Ali McCoy, he says 100%, don't take that for a minute. Players have got to look at themselves. It was a shocking performance. Don't think I'm sidestepping the issue and not giving the players any stick. Poor midfield, shocking goal to lose, and never created nearly enough. A couple of things. I don't think the club in a position to start getting rid of people. I don't think they can afford it financially. Obviously, that comes on the back of the £17 million loss that was announced this week. The fact of the matter is, he's got to get better results. Where I would stick up for him a little bit, I'm not sure he's been dealt the best hand of cards with the players he has left. The recruitment prior to him coming in has been absolutely not nearly good enough. I think that is kind of the only thing that may be saving as well. 2 things that I think that may be saving him. Like I said, one is the lack of leadership from the top of the club. The second is the recruitment. The recruitment to this point has been exceptionally poor. Exceptionally poor. I saw a remarkable stat yesterday on X that we'd spent 22.5 million on the likes of Sam Lammers, Danilo, Diamande, Cortez, and Celtic had spent 12.5 million on O'Reilly, Kyogo, Hatate, and I think the other one was Carter Vickers or something like that, which, the difference in ability of those players is quite stark and quite alarming for a £10 million difference in their favour. But look, Ali's right. The players have been poor. There have been 1 or 2 that have kind of stood out and are above the blame. Nicholas Raskin, Connor Barron, for example, both were very, very good, I thought. Have been very, very good in recent games. And I honestly thought that Nicholas Raskin was very good again against Aberdeen. He was the one kind of standout. He was the one player that kind of tried and put in effort. Yes, he was not perfect, as no player was in the game on Wednesday night. But by that same token, at least he tried, he put in effort, he worked hard in that midfield, he used the ball well when he got it. He was the one shining light. And I think it is positive that he is coming back, he's coming back to form. And I think the partnership that him and Connor are forming in that midfield is excellent. And I think personally, I switched to 4-4-2 this season now with Connor and Nicholas Raskin in the centre of midfield. I think would be very good for the club. I think it really would. Like I said, there is a lot of issues with this football club. It's not just the manager. You know, the whole spine of this club is off at the moment. You know, the chairman, the CEO, the manager, the captain. All four of those positions are either empty. Well, either two are empty and two are held by people who are not up to the task of doing it. You know, and I certainly think that we need to appoint a new CEO who can come in and take an evaluation of what's going on and look at where we need to change things in terms of off the park, in terms of financial revenue streams, in terms of improving the revenue, improving the club's profitability, improving the club's trading ability, improving everything about the club. We need a new director of football to come and oversee that side of it to really establish this trading model. You know, as Niels Koppen has, I think, struggled to some degree so far. The manager, I think, as well, needs to go. Clement is quite clearly not up to the task. I think there needs to be an evaluation in the summer. I think if he is sacked this season, which I don't see him being, I think he will limp through to the end of the season. I genuinely believe that needs to be an interim manager until the end of the season, and then someone appointed in the summer after a proper recruitment process, led by the CEO and the director of football and the director of recruitment. The captain also, James Tavernier, needs to be kicked out of the club. You know, he is no longer up to the task. He is genuinely, his defensive side of the game is poor. He jogs around too much. He's not involved. And his presence in the team is actually affecting the whole team. It's affecting the form of others. It's affecting the play of the team. It's leading to centre backs being pulled all over the place, having to cover. The wingers been less effective because they've got to get back to cover for him. It seems to me that we're picking 10 players to kind of cover for James Tavernier just so Tav can play. And that's not right. That isn't right. You know, he'll obviously have his testimonial, which he's looking forward to the end of the season when he'll get his big bucks. Personally, on this channel, I will not cover his testimonial. I will not watch his testimonial. I will boycott his testimonial, not even mention it on the channel. So look, at the end of the day, I think, you know, look, this club has a lot wrong with it at the moment, and it needs a real major overset, and that needs to start from the top. It really does. And I think we're probably going to have to limp through to the end of the season with Clement as manager. I really do believe that will be the case, you know, going forward, which I know will disappoint a lot of you. It's where we are. It's where we're at, and it's, you know, there's a comment yesterday on the video. On the video was made yesterday. I'm going to share that comment with you and share the username. I mean, I personally think this guy's an absolute idiot. I think he's an absolute tube. I think he's a troll. I think he's a disgrace. I think I hope his family are very proud of him. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure he's well, I hope he hasn't got any family. Anyway, this is what he said. He said yesterday, let's find the comment. Here we go. He says, I've not listened to Glasgow Rangers Nation in a while as it's been boring, but I thought I'd check back to see if Owen might have improved. But no, all he has improved on is his personal attacks. I would encourage fans who watch this channel to boycott him. However, if negativity and pessimism, bad language and being disrespectful to our club and players is what you're looking for, this is the right place for you. Like I said, I'll take that guy who's obviously a happy clapper. Where is the positivity at the moment? What are the good things at the moment at this football club? You tell me. I'd love him to tell me. He quite clearly hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. You know, I don't really want to respond to individual criticism, but when you read something like that, you just genuinely despair at some of the fans and what they're actually thinking out there about this club. And I'm surely what we all want at the end of the day is this club back to where it belongs, back at the top of the Scottish game. Now, I was talking to my good mate Sarah McGeechan last night. And she was saying that that she feels that since 2012 there has been real inability for us to get back to where we were. That, you know, financially we're not in a position to challenge. Financially, that really, you know, ruined us, and the kind of attitude and ethos at the club has kind of been really ruined by 2012. And I think to some degree she's right on that. You know, that we are kind of still trying to get ourselves back, and we have got an inferiority complex. So look, I think that could be it at the end of the day. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. Right, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, please smash the like, smash the sub, drop a share, drop a comment. It'd be fantastic to hear from you. And remember always, we are the people.